Okay, we are live on YouTube. You guys are good to go.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's call the meeting to order then at 2:33. And Ed, is anybody with us on YouTube? Do we know?
Not yet, I'm the only one.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here.
Is anyone going to share the agenda on screen, or we should look it up ourselves?
Oh, I can do that. Sure. 1 second.
Thank you.
Would you
Well,
like
she's
me to do
getting
the
that
roll
up
call?
first. The first item is the approval of the minutes from September 15th. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I need to do the roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot.
All right, Foster,
Yes.
Freeling,
Present.
Hoyt,
Yes.
Krieger,
Present.
Lammert,
Present.
Lester,
Here.
Schumann, Is anyone here?
I couldn't hear what you said, Jennifer.
Jim, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I didn't hear you with the roll call. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear my name called. So I'm here from Tucson. Yes.
Okay, Wagner,
Present.
White. You have 8 present.
All right. That does give us a quorum. Now on to the minutes from the September 15th meeting. Any additions or corrections to those minutes?
No, I'll move. Krieger moves to approve them.
Lester second.
I'm sorry, Rod, you can't. You were not at the meeting.
Oh.
I'll move approval of the minutes. Eric Lester.
Lambert will second.
All right, a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor will respond to accordingly to the roll call from Jennifer.
Foster,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Hoyt,
Aye.
Krieger,
Abstain.
Lammert,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Schuneman,
Yes.
Wagner,
Aye.
and White is absent. We have 7 yays, 1 abstain, and 1 absent.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
for a point of clarity, parliamentarian rules simply state that if you've not been present at a meeting, you can't motion to approve those, but you can vote on those. And then the other point that I wanted to clarify is based on the county's corporate council, with the new rules for open meetings for virtual, we've taken the practice of when we announce that we're present, that we also announce where we're present from. Jim, when you stated that you were present from Tucson, that led me to remember that that's the practice that we've adopted at the county. I'm not sure if we want to do the same for our activities here for the Planning Commission.
Terry, that's a good point. We probably should. So Jennifer, could you go back through the roll again and just have people state where they are for today's meeting?
And the other
Point
thing,
of clarification, Terry, do I need to have that marked on the actual minutes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
and it also
Yeah.
has to say so that you're on Zoom, because otherwise, if like there are some meetings where we have some people that are in person in the room, and there are some that are on Zoom, and so you have to say, I am JB Hoyt on Zoom from blah, blah, blah. So that's how you would respond when she calls the roll.
Thanks, Annette. Foster,
Okay, let me give it a try. This is Foster on Zoom from home, Niles, Michigan. How's that?
Perfect.
Freeling,
I am present on Zoom in Baroda, Michigan.
Hoyt,
Present on Zoom from St. Joseph, Michigan.
Krieger,
Here from on Zoom from Coloma, Michigan.
Lammert,
Present on Zoom from Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Lester,
Present on Zoom from St. Joe Township.
Schooneman,
Present on Zoom from Oro Valley, Arizona.
Wagner,
Present to Zoom for my residents in Three Oaks.
and White is absent.
Okay, well, great. Terry, thank you for getting us on the straight and narrow. This is obviously a changing picture, and we will continue to try and adapt. And Annette, thank you for the other clarifications as well. Moving on to communications, Katie?
Yes, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay. So we did receive a communication from Niles Township. They sent to us a text amendment on, I think it was on October 8th. It was after we had already chosen to cancel our meeting because we had no agenda items. And it was a text amendment to add resorts to a residential, to their single family residential district. And they were hoping to expedite this process. And so just due to the timing, it would have exceeded our 30-day review. So I sent them a letter requesting that, it would be over 30 days for us to review it because of our November 10th meeting. And, but I understood that they were wanting to kind of move this into action. So I did do a staff review. I had no objections or concerns with regards to the requirement. Apparently there was a situation in the township where there was a property in a residential district that was a large acreage property where they were creating kind of a resort-like entity for a business model. And so it didn't really fit within the criteria of that zoning district. So they felt that adding this as a special land use going through the special land use process would be a way for them to be somewhat flexible and allow for that business to continue. So I'm sharing that to you just as it was a communication. We did receive it, and but it would have required an extension, a request for the extension. That's it.
Okay, Katie, thank you. Annette, do we have any public with us for any public comment?
I have checked a couple of times and it does not appear as that you have any public comments. It looks like I'm the only one watching, so you're good.
Okay, great. Does not look like we have any old business unless I'm missing something, which will move us on to new business and Buchanan Township's text amendment.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the agenda and bring up the slides, the PowerPoint, if that works, right? How's that look? Everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay. So we have this very large on my screen. We have Buchanan Township has also a text amendment. And it's in their chapter 18, the general provisions of section 18.39, which is an event venue. This is the actual language. You did receive the minutes from their meeting, which is this same language here. An event venue may be permitted by the township as a special land use in the ag district and recreational district in accordance to their Article 24. The application shows that it must include a site plan and follow the guidance of Article 23. And in that description, it needs to make sure they provide what the proposed use is, parking, sanitation, how they're getting rid of waste and waste management, outdoor lighting, fencing, on-site vehicle and pedestrian traffic and circulation, how they're going to make sure there's minimum impact to the surrounding area. And, oh, I double commaed, sorry. And also make sure they provide all the necessary information of the special land use for the township to be able to make a decision of granting approval of that. So they also are adding to allow for a wedding venue, which would be a special land use in the ag and recreational zoning district. They do require that it has to be a minimum of 10 acres. And they expanded on that the property owner, they're very concerned about parking and also just making sure the traffic flow is appropriate. So they felt that they would even incorporate that as part of the application based off of the discussion of their planning commission meeting. So incorporate a checklist and guidelines in the application for the special land use permit. They also wanted to make sure that they're in compliant with all of the fire and building codes, as well as any necessary permits from the county health department and road department specific of Berrien County, and then the local building department and fire department. They also wanted to ensure and make sure that the sanitary facilities, although they do allow for portable stations, they must be properly maintained, and access or where it's located has to be screened and away from public view. All waste products shall be screened from public view and properly disposed of, in no way become a nuisance, certainly trying to address any of those kinds of problems that may occur as events occur. Hours of operation will be determined through the special land use permit, as well as making sure that the event is on the person's premises or having a designee. They reviewed this and their Township Planning Commission recommended approval. Oh, and that's it. I don't know how to go back. Oh, geez. Oh, okay.
Okay, are there any questions or comments regarding this proposed text amendment in Buchanan Township?
Katie, one question I had is there, this is Lambert, is there a timeline in terms of how far in advance they have to submit their requests?
The applicant to submit their request, or?
Yeah, if the applicant is wanting to hold a wedding, is there a timeline specified anywhere in terms of how far in advance they have to submit their request for this, this permitted use?
Oh, once the applicant applies for the special land use permit for the wedding venue, that will all be described in the actual usage of that property. So once the special land use permit is issued or granted, then they don't need to, it's business as part of their business. So
Okay.
they don't need to necessarily notify the township that a wedding is scheduled in 2 months in advance, or,
Okay.
that would be part of the business of, if they need to get fire permits in addition to, the type of venue, the wedding venue, if it's, they're having bonfires or something like that as part of
Okay.
that event, those would be specific to that of that event, but the actual special land use permit would already be granted so that they
Okay.
could do that use, allow for that use and engage in that use.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. This is Vicky.
Yes.
Does 10 acres seem excessive to you? I mean, I suppose they can sit whatever they want. It just seemed like,
Well, it is, they do have it in their ag and their recreational districts. I think they were also, I think the reason they may have chosen 10 acres was from this perspective of parking and making sure that there's enough space necessarily between them and any adjacent property owners. It's their choice. I mean, it's their choice. So.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, then we would entertain a motion.
This
I'll
is
move.
Lambert. This is Lambert. I will move to approve the Buchanan Township Planning Commission changes, the amendment.
Great, do we have a second?
Foster, support.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Jennifer, if you could do a roll call vote, please.
Foster,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Hoyt,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Lammert,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Schooneman,
Yes.
Wagner,
aye.
and White is absent. You have 8 yeas, 1 absent.
All right, motion carries. Van Buren County is apparently updating their master plan. Katie, back to you.
Yes, so Van Buren did, they started their update last year in 2019. And I don't know if you all were able to review it. I didn't attach it because it was kind of large. I should have sent you the link on the GIR on Van Buren County's website, that it's on their main page of their website. So they were able to get Western Michigan's planning studio within the Department of Geography to assist their Van Buren County Planning Commission in their update of their master plan. So it was part of their studio, like an assignment for a class in the spring of 2019. They, similar to some of the themes that we've talked about with our master plan. So of course I'm gonna add some perspective and some little bits that definitely I thought were notable, and something that I liked that we've kind of commented on with other plans that we've been reviewing. They did analyze the local master plans to find common themes or areas of focus that overlap the whole county area. And they put emphasis on the values and then strategies to enhance those values. And so one thing that I think is important that we've all agreed on is that they certainly want to recognize and support the local municipalities and their plans and their what their goals and implementation strategies are, and recognize that, you know, when it comes to land use decisions, it really, it's really emphasized on what's happening at that local level. So they feel, just as we've kind of talked about with a lot of our discussions and actions, is to be a convener, an educator, and resource provider. So they, you know, kind of being able to have that leadership role of trying to address issues between municipalities that may or may not occur, or as things come about with land use development and choices. So I think they took that mission to heart, and their master plan certainly sticks to that ideas in those thoughts with their strategies and implementation. So overall, I thought it was very easy to read and follow. It was 50 some pages. It was something you could read in a one-time sit through and go through. And there was a lot of good resources. And so here's just some things. Sorry if it's a little grainy in the picture, but how they envision this plan to be utilized and be a resource, not just sit on a shelf, was to look at the current trends and analysis, that's what we've been doing, reviewing our local master plans, and take into the community values, reflect the common values that are applied, and strategies to enhance those community values. So direction, scope, and resources. Where's the community trying to go? What kinds of activities are involved? And then what's needed for that to make it happen. They also then just kind of looked at they focused their goals were on residential, agriculture, open spaces, economic development, infrastructure, community character, public spaces, and transportation. Does this remind you to anything else that pretty much similar aspects that we're looking at as well? And so then they did that matrix similar to what I think is perfect for a county master plan to summarize all of that.
Are we going to give any grammatical corrections? So look at the third box. We're talking about action verbs, references, reflects. It should be recommends actions to strengthen or build upon. There's a couple of major typos too.
Okay.
Thank you. My head's exploding.
Okay. I'm just taking some notes real quick. All right. They kind of they didn't do like a future land use map. And really they didn't go into as much details of all of the land use perspectives. They discussed it in text and context, but not visually really. But one of the things that they did try to highlight is the assets of Van Buren County, kind of highlighting the best of their community, and in this general map that shows the Lake Michigan shoreline, transportation connections, that being 94 and is it 43?
Well, 43 and 196, yeah.
Yeah, and 196, right. Recognizing the recreational areas, they did go into a lot of detail on that with a lot of the trails and non-motorized paths and many of the little inland lakes through the area throughout the county. They also highlighted their wine country, which is dual fold of agritourism and agricultural heritage. The small town charm, many of the communities within in that county have small little villages. They don't really have a large urban area, unlike we in Berrien. We have the Niles area and the St. Joe Benton Harbor area. They have many more smaller villages or smaller little cities and villages. And then also highlighting the inland lakes and rivers. And this is what they kind of put as their mission to their planning commission: encourage and facilitate local planning efforts. This is that convening and coordinating, encouraging convening participants. Emphasize on the importance of ongoing education and training to local appointed and elected officials. so that they're able to be responsible and have the facts to make effective decision-making. The last one is to help communities understand the need to plan in order to be proactively mitigating land use conflicts. So provide the resources, be able to help them make decisions that are hopefully cost effective as well to the communities. So under that, they have their overarching responsibilities, which is to promote consistency, complementation and coordination in land use between and amongst county, city, village, and township entities through their master plan and coordinated county planning. Provide education opportunities and ideas, resources to local governments and boards. Help local units to understand and respond to issues related to urban sprawl. Be present and available to local units to respond to local needs. Continue education of its own members to better serve the local units. And then they kind of broke it out into this nice format of encourage, convene participants. So those three focus areas of their mission and how they're going to, what the action is, who's responsible, and what the outcome, the resources needed for that, and then the outcome. So this is a nice thing to be able to go back to at possibly, a yearly meeting that they can kind of hit, like, are we addressing this? Is this something we need to expand on or touch or put as a focus, a priority for the next few months, kind of. Here's some of those for the delivering education. And, many of these are not like things that are not unattainable. They're things that can happen and that are what I would say realistic goals and achievable. And then provide resources. So these are this is what they've kind of identified as their key areas. And I would say that probably the codification, countywide zoning codification is maybe one of the bigger pie in the sky ideas. So, but it's again, this is their focus area. This is what they're wanting to work towards. And I thought it was a really nice plan. Again, there was pieces that I was like, ooh, I like that. And, again, it had the same feel to me as a lot of what Kalamazoo kind of did in that regard, which, again, we have some similar aspects with our county master plan as they do, but we also have some significant differences, which I think will be highlighted in the next few months.
If you go back one slide, Katie, they have public instead of publish. Maybe it's a slide before that. Go to page, this. I think it was C, section C.
Oh.
Yeah, second column, I'm sorry. Create and public. Or is that create and pubic? It should be create and publish.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Highlight a couple of specifics, but I think Vicky's overall point is maybe you ought to proofread the whole darn document.
Yeah. And we are looking at, I think this is their draft. So I'm.
What other questions do we or comments do we have for Katie on the Van Buren plan?
A lot of work for the county staff. Right, Katie?
Yes.
Think you could handle a plan like that?
I think again, depending on where the partnerships that they have. I will say that, this was students that helped put this together, so they
Yes.
can put, pass the buck, so to speak. But I do think, again, some of these things are what is already happening. And it's giving value to the plan and to the community and the local municipalities, which is,
I think there are, a lot of nice things in there.
yeah.
If the staff, if all that manpower was available to do all of it.
Mhm. Well, I would also look at some of these that county staff, it's not just their planning department, it's probably several departments within it. Like, our GIS department is, they're not staff to our planning commission, but they certainly are a wealth of knowledge and resource for us and all the communities. So, again, there's lots of things that, where they say county staff, it's, I think, across the board, utilizing all, several different departments and resources.
Yeah. Yeah, it was it looks good. So
Yeah,
thanks,
it's nice.
thanks for sharing it.
Katie, were there, without them doing a future land use map, it may be difficult to tell, but were there any gross incompatibilities between their plans and our plans in Berrien County?
No, only that, well, they did do one, okay, I'm gonna go to their master plan. Are you seeing anything else on my computer? Okay. So they did do a map of growth areas. Let me pull that up. I'm finding it as I'm speaking. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to share this. Let's see how this works. Can you see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see if I can just, how do I move this? Okay. Okay. So I don't, are you seeing my little arrow?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, good. This is great. So this is the only area of potential concern, but I don't see it that way necessarily because this is, again, along the lake shore. This is Hager Township up here, and majority of this area is residential, but it is the gateway along, what I would say our lake shore area. They do put growth or zones for growth and investment. It's not saying to build it all commercial necessarily, but this is where they're saying these are hot spots for growth and investment, as well as high density community centers. So kind of identifying urban areas and basically the small pockets surrounding those urban areas.
Is that something we ought to at least comment on in comments back to them?
We can make a comment with regards to just I would say in our northern part up here, we don't have, and I'd have to double check with Hager Township specifically, but I don't see them booming that section of town. Most of, if anything, they have kind of right here is the area in Hager because of, but most of this area is generally just residential. There is a lot of small lots, not necessarily high density, but within this area along.
They're very, very,
Right.
very, very small.
Yeah.
Those old Sears Roebuck lots, I think, or Montgomery Wards or whatever they were.
Right.
They're
Right.
30 feet by 30 feet or something like that.
I think they're 10 feet by 30
10 feet by, you're right, 10 feet by 10 feet.
But that's, I mean, their zoning is not high density. I'll just leave it at that. The zoning
There's
for that
probably
area.
not a point of conflict between the two counties.
No, I don't see that.
Okay, that's all I was concerned about.
No, I can't see that. Not up there.
Yeah. I would say though, through the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, this is in their, they handle Cass, Van Buren and Berrien County. And so they, I think, took into account some of the SED studies, as well as Region 8, the Prosperity Initiative. They took into account some of those aspects to ensure that, they're supporting the region, the area, Southwest Michigan. There was another map that had Berrien mislabeled. We were Cass. So I can correct that for sure. But that's it. That's all I have about it.
Any other comments that we want to provide any feedback on to Van Buren County?
Nothing here.
Mr. President, did you want to officially applaud them for their work on this?
I think that was one of Katie's key comments, was that it's nicely laid out and there's some design elements that make it very usable. So yeah, absolutely. We certainly should compliment them where appropriate.
Yeah, it was very, they had, as well as, so there may be overlooked some grammatical and proofreading, but overall, it's easy to read. It's good to be able to go and do a quick reference, that you don't have to search through the book forever and ever. It's not, and then even highlighting some things that they put it in bold on the side. I'm at the point now where I'm starting to review how the formatting, what kind of formatting does our plan want to look like? And these are the little pieces that I say, "Ooh, I like the way that sits," and you can quickly, it draws attention to your eyes and you can see it very easily and quickly.
Agreed. I just flipping through the layout. I like the way they've done it from drawing your attention to the key points. And if you want to read the detail, you could do that, but you don't have to read the detail with the key points.
Right. It's the Cliff Note version of a master plan. So.
All right. So Katie, you'll send them some feedback and thank them for sharing their plan with us.
Yes.
Cool. Moving on to our master plan. How timely.
Yeah. So I've been working through each of the municipal master plans, reviewing and doing some kind of cross-checking as to similarly to that, to that matrix of goals and areas that are of focus. Terry was kind enough to forward some additional information that Southwest Michigan Planning Commission had started. It's a little outdated, but they had started something, or they did do a kind of an analysis of all the master plans. So that was helpful, and also kind of helped stir the pot to get me more focused on the master plans. I do have some master plans that are not in my digital files. So I've, have to go back and remember to pull them at the county building. So there's a couple that I need to go backtrack on. I have some information, but I'm, second guessing myself. So I hope to have that matrix completed for you for next month. And that's really the, analysis and I think daily I'm dumping more data into my piles of things to look through and pull some additional information out related to just historical data or new information that's coming through. Again, I think, our focus areas and being able to address the education piece of being more of that, providing that assistance or coordinating or facilitating, keeping people up to speed with resources that may be available to communities. That's kind of where I've been putting emphasis on. And I think I'll start actually, putting some draft formats in play. But I've been playing with a lot of different design, like what should this look like? What, templates. And I haven't found anything that I really like that's accessible without me paying for some download version. So.
Katie, did you receive 100% replies from our members on the material that you gave us for research questions and answers? Did everyone return their information to you?
For the most part, yes. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but there has been response. So, I appreciate everyone's input and comments. I think that certainly helped lay down the path that we want to focus on and move forward. I do feel though there's a lot of there's a recent article I was reading about just the impacts of COVID financially to municipalities and what the long-term effect or impact that can have, and particularly not just in, more overview of the whole municipality, the functions of municipalities and governments, but then how it trickles down to planning and land use, as well as just the dynamic of how our landscapes are kind of changing, what that's going to look like in the future, and some considerations we'll want to take some time to kind of look at a little more in depth. Office space, for example, that might look a lot different in the future for planning and development purposes.
Did you say office space?
Yeah, I just use that as an example because a lot of places are, the dynamic of people working from home is
that isn't what I thought you meant by that. I understand.
Yeah.
Thought you were planning on building a new county building.
Oh, well.
No, we're going to sell one. We don't need the office space anymore.
I often wonder how that's going to work.
Yep. Sounds like we're going to nudge our way forward. So, sorry, Vicki, did you have a comment?
I was just going to say, don't you all remember the controversy we had with Don Ryman? Because we were looking at the central campus out by LMC.
Oh, yes. Right.
It looks good in corn for the time being. Anything else that we want to discuss around our own master plan? To that end, I would like to move on to nominating committee discussion. And before we get to that, Vicky had just shared her intent to retire from the commission at the end of this year. Let me also share my intent to do the same. My wife and I will be moving to Charlevoix, Michigan in December, so we'll no longer be county residents. It has been a great pleasure to serve with you guys, and hope to I fully expect to see you all again at our December meeting, but that will leave us then with 4 vacancies. I will make the point, as I briefly made to Brian Doucette, that we got some openings on this panel and we really need to feed that animal. And I'll point out that the urgency is just now increased because our bylaws state that we have to have 6 persons to have a quorum. And after December, you'll only have 6 persons. So we'll try and move that along. I know Annette has said that it's not unique to this commission. But with that for background, would like a couple of you to volunteer to be the nominating committee for officers for the 2021 year. Anyone?
I'll serve on that committee.
Great, Jim, thank you.
This is Eric Lester. I'd serve.
All right. Anybody else eager for that role? Matt, Jim, and Eric, you are hereby appointed to be a committee. And we'll look forward to your report out at either the December or, well, it should be the December meeting because we'll want to have new officers in place for the January meeting. Thank you for volunteering, gentlemen. Anything else for the good of the order today?
I didn't put it on the agenda, but if there's any of the subcommittees that have been meeting virtually, if they want to give a report, they're welcome to, or we can address that next month.
Why don't we put that on the agenda, because that'll give all of us time to think about it. And frankly, in the case of parks, where I'm responsible, hopefully there'll be a little some further developments in that time frame. All right. Hearing no other actions for today, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Schoeneman hereby moves to adjourn the meeting.
Lester seconds.
All right, Jennifer, if you could do a roll call, please.
Right. Foster,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Hoyt,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Lammert,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Schoeneman,
Yes.
Wagner.
Aye.
White is absent. You have 8 yeas, 1 absent.
All right, our meeting stands adjourned. Look forward to seeing you all in a Zoom meeting room near you in early December. Thanks for the time today.
Good.
All right.
Good to see you all today too. You're all looking great.
Thank you, sir.
I need to get Lester's communications information so he and I can talk back and forth.
Jim, I can put it in the chat now if it stays open long enough. Or I can
Okay.
just tell you right now and you can write it down if you've got a pen handy.
I have a pen handy.
My email is easy. It's ERICLESTER, all one word. It's my name, Eric Lester, at live.com. And my cell, which is the best way to reach me, other than email, is 269-325-0030. Jim,
Okay, I'll send you a text with my information.
Okay, that'd be terrific.
All right, very good.
We'll talk soon. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
Again, thank you guys for serving on that committee, and look forward to seeing everybody next month. Ciao.
Right.
Okay,
Ciao.
ciao.